Alrighty, guys, we are back here at Arizona Regionals. Going into round 4, we have Brandon Cantu against Kyle Warren. So we see Brandon playing sort of not necessarily a new deck, but something we don't really see all that often. Maybe a little bit more often at this tournament. Quite a few people are playing it here. We got the Xerneas Ho-Oh EX. So, excuse me, Xerneas does, I believe, 30 damage times the number of different type Pokemon on your field. Ho-Oh gets you energy from your discard, or once in the discard pile, it gets you energy out onto the field. Pretty consistent deck. It definitely has its flaws. But overall, it's been doing actually pretty well at this tournament with seeing so much dark. It does really well against it. And then we see Kyle playing yet another Night March deck to be played on stream today. You guys are wondering, this is me commentating on drinking an energy drink right after, so I'm a bit more energized. Not really all that tired. Kyle, turn 1, is able to get out that town map. Sort of looking at his prizes, doesn't really look all that savvy. It's prizing 2 of your Dimension Valleys. Not necessarily the greatest thing to see on your first game. But we do see him, starts with a Joltik, able to attach that Fighting Fury belt onto him. Trying to help him not get that turn 1 Skybird turn. Definitely very, very helpful. And it doesn't look like Brandon is playing anything that would get rid of that Fighting Fury belt. No surprise Megaphone or Tool Scrapper or anything like that. We see a Battle Compressor coming out, definitely getting rid of all of those Night Marchers in his deck, the ones that clump it up, stuff like Lampin or more Joltiks, possibly even a supporter, which is what we do see. We see him getting rid of a Teammates, which is it's good to do pretty early in the game, just so you're able to VS Seeker, especially if you don't have any in your hand. You're going to have all those VS Seekers, but he does get rid of a Gallade and what looked like a Night Marcher, a Pumpkaboo, I believe. He's going to be able to search his deck for any Pokemon. And it also does look like Kyle is playing the Life Dew as his A-Spec, which is not really uncommon for a Night March deck, especially here. We're seeing it quite a bit, actually. Life Dew in this deck is really good. You can attach it to your Shaman if you think it's about to go down, so they can only take 1 prize. And then you can also attach it to your Joltik, Pumpkaboo, your Mew, even your Gallade, if you are so inclined that so your opponent can't take that extra prize card. He has got, I believe I saw maybe 7 or 8 Night Marches in his discard pile on the first turn of the game. Really, really good start for Kyle. Probably, I'm not sure if you can ask for anything better, to be honest. Turn 1 starting a Mew, a Pumpkaboo with a DCE, Joltik with a Fighting Fury, and Shaman. Of course, the Shaman was just to get more cards, but really solid start by Kyle. We see an Ultra Ball being played on Brandon's side, and also both these players are 3-0 right now, so they're doing really well in the tournament. I was talking to Kyle, I think after his last round, and he said he has been getting a bit of luck throughout the tournament, but he's been playing his Night March really well. We actually haven't seen a Night March win on stream yet, but we see Brandon play out his Hoopa. Hoopa's really good in this deck, just because you're going to be able to get out things that you play, like Jirachi EX if you need a supporter, another Ho-Oh, Shaman, Latios if you're trying to go for the Donk, or Keldeo. Of course, Brandon not going first, there was that potential there to be able to play down that Latios EX that he plays, and take the turn 1 knockout without, and then ending the game right there. But of course, going second, it's not as easy. He also plays an Aegislash, so that's also what he got out there. It's going to do really well in this match, just because Kyle doesn't play anything but the double colorless energy, so he's going to have to Hex Maniac, which he only plays one of. He's going to have to Hex Maniac to be able to get through that ability. And even then, if he's attacking with something like a Pumpkaboo, it's not going to do enough. Or it may not do enough damage, especially with like a Fighting Fury belt on it. It's going to be very difficult for Kyle to be able to knock that out. The circumstance has to be so good. And plus, Brandon has a really solid turn 1. It looks like he has 3 Ho-Ohs in his discard pile. So he's going for Ho-Oh's ability, putting it on the bench and attaching one of each different kind. Oh my goodness. Okay. He got it on the last try of all 3 of them. He was only going for 1, of course, but just because he really only needed 1 heads, because he only had the 2 energy to be able to get back and put onto that Ho-Oh. Being able to take the Shaman off the field, it's a low HP EX Pokemon, so already it's pretty good at being Lysandered up and one-shotted really easily. We see Kyle going in, Ultra Balling, discarding an N, and what sort of looks like a DCE for a Shaman. So I believe that those are the last 3 cards in his hand. Maybe he was sitting on that Ultra Ball and N, or maybe the N and like the DCE, and then drawing into, I assume, what was the double colorless energy. Just like you sort of have that mindset. You have the Ultra Ball. It's like, okay, next turn, I'm definitely going to, whatever I draw, I'm going to discard for this Ultra Ball. So I'm not really sure what the dispute is at this point. Okay, it seems like it's fine. It's good. Okay, yeah, we're good. Alright, yeah. I'm just not sure what it was. I can see him from here, so I just wanted to make sure that nothing was going wrong. Alright. You know, I'm not sure, but I may have seen that double Puzzle of Time in Kyle's hand. He does play the set of them. So, and he plays 3 total Dimension Valley. He's going to need the DCE this turn to be able to attack. But then again, he didn't play that Hex Maniac, so he's not going to be able to do any damage. He does play the Tool Scrubber, which we saw earlier, to get rid of that item attached. But then, of course, Brandon plays 2 Fighting Fury belts, so he may be able to get another one. He also plays a single Muscle Band, which is rather interesting. Yeah, just looking at Brandon's list, I definitely do like it. It's a bit different, but it seems really solid. There's the Hex Maniac. He's getting out, so he hasn't played a supporter this turn. So it looks like, is that a knockout? It looks like it. He must have at least 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So he is swinging for that 170. Perfect. Definitely setting Brandon back a little bit. He wasn't expecting him. The reason he put it up is because he wasn't expecting him to be able to knock it out. Which, you know, is actually a pretty safe call on Brandon's part. But in this case, Kyle was just able to get those cards that he needed to be able to get the knockout. He had an excellent turn 1. But I guess let's see what Brandon does. It seems like he plays down this Latios EX. Attaches DC. He needs that energy switch to be able to do any damage this turn. Playing the end, definitely good call. He's going to be able to draw 6. Kyle, on the other hand, a pretty sizable hand. He's only going to be able to draw 4 in this next one. So if he's not able to get... he already played out the Dimension Valley, so he already has that. He's going to be able to attack in the next turn. And it does not look like Brandon plays any stadiums. So it's a pretty tough situation for Brandon at this point. It doesn't look like he got the energy switch. So we're just contemplating what he could do. He, in this match, like, the reason you play the Latios is because you know your Night March isn't... The Night March matchup just isn't that great. He did end up just passing, and it looks like he's gonna... Kyle's gonna be able to take another knockout with the Joltik active. Honestly, if Brandon goes to attack with this Ho-Oh, it's pretty much over. It's gonna get knocked out, retaliated knockout, directly after. Attaches the DCE VS Seeker N. Yep, there it is. He's gonna go ahead and play the N. There is already a DCE, I believe, on the Mew and the Pumpkaboo, so it doesn't seem like it really matters. He already has 2 attackers and the D-Valley out. And we see the Skyfield coming out. Yep. I guess I just skipped over that. Brandon plays a total of 4 Skyfields. So for him not to get one out earlier, it may be safe to assume that one of them may be, or at least one or multiple may be prized. Because at this point, Kyle needs a Joltik or another D-Valley. We know there's 1 in his deck and 1 in his prizes. And if he can't get this D-Valley out this turn, the game may switch over to in Brandon's favor. We see a Fighting Fury Belt go on the Pumpkaboo, a VS Seeker. Oh no, it's pretty sure he's gonna. Oh, interesting. Oh, for a Hex Maniac. Interesting. Possibly his deck is too thin to be able to play any trainers, but he does attach his 4th double colorless energy and takes a knockout on the Ho-Oh. For Brandon to come back in this game, he's gonna have to knock out this Ho-Oh, this Pumpkaboo this turn. Otherwise, it does not look good for him. Because he's under Hex Maniac right now, so he's not going to be able to get out those Ho-Ohs. The best thing he could do possibly right now is Lysander up a Shaman and hope he isn't able to get out of it and sort of just take him there, stall him while he can. We see a Battle Compressor dropping an egg. There's the Lysander. Yep, and he grabs out the Lysander. So possibly a Fairy Energy, Lysander, and Execute.
Video game juniors and seniors, I still have some prizes to give out. Video game juniors and seniors. Nicholas Hagen.
Yeah, these early turns for Brandon were not very favorable for him. He's pretty lucky he's able to get those ends off. Sort of slowed down Kyle a tad. Not by that much, but it does seem like Kyle only having 1 prize card left. He just needs to be able to take one more knockout. I think it's in Kyle's favor right now, but then again, there's always that chance that Brandon's able to Lysander something up, stall, or Lysander it up, be able to kill that Pumpkaboo. Kyle does have another D-Valley, though. And that's exactly what he does. Sorry about that. Yep, Kyle drops that float zone. First game is going to go to Kyle. To be honest, it sort of seemed like it was in Kyle's favor pretty much the entire game. Seeing as he had an awesome turn one. He was able to draw into what he needed, especially when he was down several cards. Overall, it did seem like Kyle sort of controlled that match. Good thing for Brandon, at least. It didn't take up that much time. The thing about those type of matches is just like you realize the game isn't going your way, and so you sort of think, okay, it may be worth scooping at this point. But then there's that thought in the back of your head, like, no, he's played out so many of his resources. He doesn't have any cards left. Let's try doing this. Okay, that didn't work. He's done this. Let's try doing this. In this case, it was he had an awesome turn one. He put up Aegislash, solid play. Of course, at that point, I wouldn't scoop. It was really early in the game, but the Aegislash got knocked out right as soon as it came up, which is like it was an amazing play by Kyle. But also knowing when to quit is really important. But I can't blame Brandon just because it did. Like, I would have done the exact same thing. I would have Lysandered that Shaman. I would have tried to keep on going. But when do you really know when to quit? And looking at this, I think Brandon is going to be going first. He is. He starts Shaman for the second time. Definitely not what you want to see. Especially in turn one. I see a double colorless in his hand. Battle Compressor, definitely going to be dropping a Ho-Oh, some energy, maybe a supporter in case he needs it. Alright. Still going through with this Battle Compressor. There's the Ho-Oh, Fairy Energy. Definitely want to be doing some counts in this, because it's pretty important. So Kyle only plays 3 Dimension Valley. On the other hand, Brandon plays 4 Skyfield. So the safe play is to let Kyle play out his stadium first. My apologies, I forgot to reset these prizes. To let Kyle play out his stadium first, so you will definitely win that stadium war. Because it's pretty important. With 30 HP 30 HP Joltics, they're really squishy, they're really easy to kill, and they won't get you there. Pumpkaboo, on the other hand, will, but without that Dimension Valley, you saw in the last game, he had to put quite a few resources into that one Pumpkaboo. He got pretty lucky being able to draw into his DCEs, but without it, it would have been pretty devastating. So we see the DCE going up on the Shaman. We see the interesting energy switch on the Shaman. We see the Skyfield, Sycamore. I'm not really sure why you would want to use the energy switch on the Shaman. Possibly because he doesn't believe that Kyle's going to be able to one-shot next turn. Hopefully get a Sky Return. But at the same time, I think keeping it on the Ho-Oh is pretty safe. Of course, I don't know what Brandon's thought process is. So I could be totally wrong, but we'll see how it goes. We see an Ultra Ball, discarding an Ultra Ball, and a Skyfield. putting him down to just 2 left in his deck. Of course, we saw in that last game, Kyle did prize 2 of his Dimension Valleys. Definitely not what you want to see in this matchup. Stadium War is important, especially in this. Alright, do we see Kyle's first turn? It does look like he retreated, so it makes sense. He retreated the Shaman, knowing, hey, okay, there's a Ho-Oh, I had an energy switch to the Shaman, be able to retreat it. Hopefully you get something to retreat into. Aegislash is definitely the preferable Pokemon you want to see to be able to switch into, and now that energy is back in the discard. There's another Ho-Oh in the discard. He's going to be able to get it right back. We see the Ultra Ball for the Shaman. It's interesting. Kyle, he doesn't play, he only plays the 1 Gallade, so it's a 1-1 Maxis, I believe. Yeah, so it's a 1-1 Maxis. 1 Maxis, 1 Gallade, which is interesting. He doesn't really focus on it. He doesn't really, with this list, he doesn't really need it. It's sort of just there for the taking. If you feel like you do need it, then you have it. Of course, with like these other Night March, maybe that's why he's been doing so well today. All these other Night March we've seen have played things like Archeops and that one fighting Pokemon. Other techs in their deck, other than just Gallade, because of this format is so diverse. You gotta be playing around. So maybe Kyle has been doing well because he's really like just focused on the main aspect of Night March, consistency. He plays Acrobikes, which isn't seen all that often anymore in Night March lists. They sort of cut them out for other things to help with other decks, but with this sort of more pure version of Night March, he only plays the 1 Mew, the 1 Gallade, and it's running him consistently. We saw his turn 1 last game, really good. His turn 1 this game is doing either as good or maybe a little better. It seems like he's gotten pretty much everything he needs so far. Of course, this list is very tight. Obviously, you have 4 of things like the 4 battle compressors, the 4 puzzles, 4 trainer mail, but like a lot of 1-ups here and there. So there is that potential of not drawing what you need, on top of playing the Life Dew, which we didn't see in the last game, but it could definitely be a big factor in this. We see the double puzzle being played out turn 1, which is doesn't happen that often, but then of course it's really good, especially if you've been able to play a lot of cards. Usually if you get it, it's too early in the game. There's not that many cards in your discard pile you really want, but in this case he grabs the Ultra Ball and the Battle Compressor. Definitely gonna want those. He grabs a Battle Compressor. He's gonna be able to take out the Pumpkaboo, or take out the Pumpkaboo, take out the Night Marches in general. So he takes out a Joltik, a Pumpkaboo, possibly a supporter, which it looks like he's looking at that teammates to get rid of, which would make sense. He did the same thing in the last game. It seems like he's gotten enough Night Marchers in his discard pile to where he's feeling comfortable about it. He knows that he doesn't really need that many more. The Pokemon in Brandon's deck don't have that much HP, with like Xerneas having 130 and Ho-Oh at 160, and even these like the Aegislash with 170 with a Fighting Fury Belt. That number's not that hard to hit. We've seen Ultra Ball discarding another Night Marcher. I believe that's at least 6 to 7 at this point. Grabbing a VS Seeker as well. Or discarding, my bad. Discarding a VS Seeker as well. I believe that's his at least second VS Seeker played this turn. So he does attach the DCE to the active. Of course, even if he does get that Dimension Valley, he's not going to be able to attack it. We do see a Life Dew, which is interesting. It's very good. And it looks like he drops. Yep. So definitely not wanting to get rid of another VS Seeker. He drops the Fighting Fury belt and takes a VS Seeker. Very safe play. That doesn't look like a very good draw. Sycamore is probably the best thing you can take out of there. We do see 2 DCEs in it, clumping a little bit. Make sure to shuffle a little better, you know. And it looks like he's just going to fail it. There's really nothing he needs. He has the VS Seeker for whatever supporter he wants. At this point, he's going to play the VS Seeker. He's going to grab the Hex Maniac. Alright. And then Puzzle of Time. Again, like I said earlier, when you see someone playing a Puzzle of Time, usually because they're not going to be playing any more cards that turn. We see a Hex Maniac. I'm not sure if that is knockout this turn. We see a Life Dew. It may be. He passes. He doesn't... Oh, that's my bad. He doesn't have the Dimension Valley out. Of course, he can't even attack. But he did play the Hex Maniac. Attaches a DCE to the active. Now all he'll need is that regular Metal Energy to be able to do damage. Did see he already played his VS Seeker? I believe that's like 3 VS Seekers down in his deck. Not very good for Kyle. So I know there's a lot of lag going on in the stream. It's the quality is good. This next between rounds, if I have enough time, I'm gonna try to fix that. Just so you guys are sort of more up to date. It's not loading as often. Just to let y'all know, if it goes down, that's why. See Kyle, he took the 2 prizes off of that Shaman, just Lysander, Dimension Valley, knockout. Putting Brandon in a tough situation. There's not much he can really do. We see a Stellar Guidance, Jirachi EX in hand. Yeah, it's pretty safe. Playing it, grab a supporter he definitely needs to start doing some damage. He grabs a Colress, so he's going to be able to shuffle and draw 6 if he's not going to play any more basic Pokemon. I believe there's at least 1 Ho-Oh in his discard pile. Definitely going to go for that. Heads, he's going to be able to get, I believe he has the 3 energies. 1, 2, and... No? Alright, he just has the 2, the Psychic and the Fairy. I thought he had discarded a Metal earlier on, but I suppose not. He does have the Energy Switch. If he wants to be able to take the knockout, but he chooses not to. Plays the Colress. He's going to be able to draw 7. Colress is sort of an interesting card. It was played a lot in older formats, and it sort of died off. But now with this expanded, it's playing a little bit more. He does only play the 1 though. Plays a Battle Compressor. Definitely going to be getting rid of an Egg. There's a Metal Energy. And Ninja Boy. Interesting. Of course, already played a supporter for the turn, so that's pretty irrelevant. Still sort of just considering what he can get. Definitely want to know the counts of all your cards. It's a pretty solid hand. Trainer's Mail. I believe that's another Battle Compressor. Maybe a Ho-Oh. Ninja Boy, Metal Energy, and the Execute. See the Xerneas in hand. He's going to drop it. Battle Compressor. And going to... sort of hard to say what he's going to grab out now. Possibly 1 or 2 cards. I couldn't see him grabbing the full 3, but it does look like he's going to take out a Fairy Energy, a Lysander, and a Skyla. Again, Lysander, Skyla, Colress, all one-of supporters, which like you can do in a deck like this just because it plays that Jirachi EX. So getting them out is a bit easier on top of the Battle Compressors and the VS Seekers. They're a bit easier to get out. Alright. Looks like a Propagation. Yeah, Ultra Ball also discarding. Or no, sorry. Oh, interesting. He has the Trainer Mail in hand. I can see. And he passes. Interesting, he didn't play the Trainer Mail. He just propagated right into his hand. You see Kyle does have the VS Seeker. See Ultra Ball discarded game, Floatstone, and Dimension Valley. Grabbing out Shaman. And he grabs the Shaman with the Ultra Ball. Definitely going to want to be getting more cards in his hand, especially, I believe it's his last VS Seeker in deck, if not his second to last one. I know he discarded one earlier. He had to play one, and he discarded one, I believe. So definitely running low on some resources. Then, of course, he did... he is up by 2 prizes on Brandon. And definitely, these turns are taking a while. If it continues like this, they may have to go to time on the second game. But I believe they're both really high caliber players. So I don't think anything like that will happen. See a Battle Compressor coming out. Just at this point, thinning his deck to the things that it doesn't need. There's a Pumpkaboo. A Lampent. Yeah, Brandon's not in a very good spot, but at the same time, Kyle has played a lot of cards. So if Brandon can retaliate, start taking some knockouts, of course the Life Dew is pretty harsh on Brandon just because it doesn't... he's not able to take the prize. We see Pumpkaboo come out, and he had Hex the turn, so it's going to take the knockout. 2 more prizes. Plays a Trainer Mail, grabs Energy Switch. Definitely going to want to try to take the knockout this turn. Attaches DCE Energy Switch, that Fairy Energy on there. Now he's going to be taking the knockout on this Joltik for sure. VS Seeker N. Yeah, there it is. VS Seekers for N. And he's just going to play the end right away.
Turning card game master players. I need Kenny Thomas and Adam Colbert to the front stage, please. Kenny Thomas and Adam Colbert to the front stage, please. Thank you.
Definitely putting Kyle down to those 2 cards is going to be pretty painful for him. And Brandon's just going to take the knockout on that Joltik for a prize. It's pretty worth it, and it looks like Kyle gets the Sycamore off of that 2-card hand. There's the DCE. Thinking about it, yeah, gonna attach that DCE. He's gonna need a Dimension Valley. There's the Dimension Valley. He's already gotten rid of 2. One of them was discarded because of Kyle's Skyfield, and then one of them he discarded early game. So he knew it was in there. He just wanted to make sure he drew the correct one. So if Brandon's able to take the knockout on this Joltik next turn with this Latios and N, it could potentially put Kyle in a bad spot. So as the energy switch, put the Psychic on the Latios, and then Ultra Ball possibly going in for a Shaman. I know he's played at least 3 VS Seekers. Yep, and we see the N getting played. Kyle, all he needs, DCE and his double colorless. Couldn't really see what he drew. Battle Compressor getting rid of some of those Pokemon, just thinning out his deck. And I believe if Brandon ends up pulling this game off, which is not impossible at this point, just because he's slowed Kyle down so much because of all the ends, that's possible. He tries to get out another Ho-Oh, get some more energy on the field. But it looks like he's just going to take the knockout on this Joltik. Bringing out the Shaman. It's going to be really good for Kyle being able to put those 2 double colorless energies back into his deck. All he needs, double colorless, Dimension Valley. But if Kyle wins, that'll be the end of the set. If Brandon wins, I believe it would go to a tie. We see the DCE on the Shaman, Sky Return. Now he has 2 cards, just 2 cards, a Shaman and a double colorless. The chances of him being able to draw that Dimension Valley off of the 6 cards he would draw, pretty high. I'm not sure how many cards left in his deck. Let's count as 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 if this Pumpkaboo gets knocked out. Very tough game on both ends. They're both really low on resources too. Looks like he's gonna be he gets the heads on the Ho-Oh. Gonna be able to play that down on his bench. Got a pretty full bench. His discard pile is sort of off to the side. I'd prefer him to not do that. That's okay. That's fine. Especially with like something like a Skyfield out, you're gonna have a lot of Pokemon on your bench. Sort of debating on what he can do. He's only taken, I believe... Oh, no, he's taken 2 prize cards. And we see possibly a Fighting Fury Belt coming down on this Ho-Oh. It won't matter. That's only 200 HP. Is that another N? Yeah, it is. It's another N. If Kyle gets either... Kyle gets a DCE. Good position. There are 3 in his deck right now. So the chances are pretty high. He's going to be able to attach it to a Shaman, Sky Return again. Bring up possibly another Shaman. But if he draws the Shaman, we see a Trainer Mail. Nope. All he can get is that, Battle Compressor. He's going to be able to get rid of the Tool Scrapper. It's a harder decision. Definitely Mew. Mew is no longer needed. But, the Tool Scrapper is interesting. He gets the VS Seeker for Sycamore. I think that's it. Yeah, that is it. Kyle wins game 2 off of drawing his last VS Seeker. That's game. I didn't realize he had another VS Seeker left in his deck, but he does, and that's what's gonna get him the game. That's round 4. I'll have Kyle over here in just a second to tell us a little bit about that match. And I'll see you guys then.